All right, welcome to my third week of Putting It on the Glass. Putting It on the Glass is where I show you the compensation that I make as a lease driver at Arter Express. Now, this isn't new. I did this same thing when I was at Cheeseman, and I did it also when I was at Millis. It's something that is part of my journey, and I have put it forward to show other people how I'm doing it. This does not mean this is how you should run your business. And it doesn't mean that I'm trying to tell you how to run your business. I'm showing you how I run my business. I spend a lot of time at home. I go home right now. I'm going home every other week, and I'm taking about 4 days home time. Home time is important to me. I enjoy home time. I really want a job where I can take my work home with me. Said no one ever. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the third week of Putting It on the Glass. And I'll talk again at the very end of it.
All right, the first trip this week was from Dallas, Texas to St. Peters, Missouri. 627.7 miles loaded and 42,000 pounds drop and hook on both ends. When I picked it up, the trailer did not pass inspection. The trailer had a missing mud flap, a bent bar, and had a tire that needed to be repaired and one that needed to be replaced. Keep in mind, this is a good time to do a split sleeper berth if you're going to be waiting a couple of hours to get your trailer fixed. And just as the handy calculator on the website shows, I got paid for loaded miles, paid for surcharge, paid for a market adjustment pay. On this particular one, I also got a stop pay charge. That's where I had to go play find a trailer. So the revenue was $2.50 per mile, plus the $50 for the extra stop. Then, of course, comes the expenses. That's my 76 cents of fixed costs. You can look at them on the website individually or freeze the frame. Trip number 2 was my go-home load. That's right, I only had 2 loads this week because it was a week where I went home. My second trip was 627 miles. It was from St. Peters, Missouri to Jefferson, Georgia, 44,000-pound load. And yes, it was drop and hook on both ends. And the usual expected revenues, $1.48 per loaded mile, 87 cents fuel surcharge, and 15 cents market adjustment, subtracting the fixed cost at 76 cents per loaded mile. Here's the part that we all came to see, the actual pay settlement from the Arter Express website. This is my contractor compensation. As always, I'll zoom in on the actual load. There's the first load, so you can stop the video if you need to, or you can back up to take a look at it. All right, just like the first load, we're going to zoom in on the load itself so you can take a look at it. Be sure to stop the video if you need to take a closer look at something, or you can always back up frame by frame, whatever you need to do. The next section concerns advances. Let me zoom in on it. I only have one advance, and that is a toll. Those tolls are taken because I use the company toll pass on the front windshield, and then they bill me for it. Okay, the second page of the settlement is pretty simple. You have the deductions. That's my trailer deposit and tractor deposit. Keep in mind that's still my money. That's just an escrow in case I damage a tractor or trailer. Remember when I told you that they would bill me for that travel expenses, the travel and the hotel? Well, that's the travel and the hotel being billed to me for going to orientation. Keep in mind that you will be paying for that if you're a lease contractor. So this week I had 26 hours of driving and 5 hours of on-duty time for a total of 31 hours. I accomplished 1,388 miles. So when we do the straight division, we'll see that I averaged 53 miles per hour. Now keep in mind that does not mean I was driving at 53 miles per hour. It just means that's what I accomplished. There are times when you're driving slower, times when you're driving faster, times when you're driving across the parking lot at 4 miles an hour. We all know about that, right? All right, fuel. I only had one fill up this week. Keep in mind, I always start with a full tank because I go home with a full tank. I'm not a person who fuels for the load. I fill my tanks all the way to the brim. That way I can divide out and find out exactly what my real fuel mileage is and not go by what it says on the dashboard. I want to put pencil to paper and I want to know what it is, or Excel spreadsheet in my case. I had one fill up. It was 136.49 gallons. It cost me $4.96 per gallon, and that came out to 7.3 mpg. This was a short week. I didn't even work 3 full days. I was home for 4.5 days. So things are a little different this week. My total was $1971 for revenue minus fixed expenses. My fuel was $792. I only had one fuel fill up there. I got 7.3 miles to the gallon. I had 26 hours of total drive time and 30.75 hours of on-duty and drive time. Now, if you put that $250 that's being put in my escrow plus my expenses there for the hotel and rental car, I actually made $1,689 for this week. That's not too bad for a go-home week.
All right, it's time for the end of the video where I do my wrap-up, where I talk about the week. This was the third week. I have actually completed 5 weeks with the company at the time of recording this. Yes, I am behind. I will try to get that one for the 4th week knocked out here in the next couple of days. Hopefully during this week, it'll appear sometime in the week. It was definitely a good week. I do not cherry pick the week that I'm going to show you. I show you all the weeks. As Cash is King says, I'll link to his channel up above, I'm going to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think that's the only way that a person can really see what's going on out here. I could show you those great weeks where I have a rollover or where I didn't deliver a load until Monday. Or I could show you that great week where everything fell into place and every single drop and hook was no appointment, easy in and easy out. Everything was flowing great with dispatch, no trailer issues. I could show you all those weeks. But that's not an honest representation. And that's not what I did at Cheeseman, and that's not what I'm going to do here. At Cheeseman, I showed every month, whether it was a good month, a bad month. Did the same thing at Millis. I showed you the good weeks and the bad weeks. I'm going to do the same thing here because I believe in being 100% above the board. And I'm going to show you. There are some weeks like I go home. I believe in home time. You will see me go home, and I've only been out 3 days that week. Went home, 4 days at home. Okay, now when I roll, I'm rolling tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning is Wednesday. Monday and Tuesday are already gone for this week. I got 5 days to make this week. And I'm going to get out here and I'm going to make the week. And then next week, see how it falls. But I'm going to be out for 2 weeks and head for home. And that's just the way I roll. Now, if the loads were better, I'd love to have it like a few other drivers do, where they get home and they only do their 34s at home. Talk about perfect truck utilization. There it is right there. Get home every week for a 34 and then you're rolling again, day and a half. Everything is different. Now, I'm also going to talk about fueling because I don't fuel for the load, but I completely understand it, and I understand why some people should fuel for the load. There are reasons you should fuel for the load. You should fuel for the load if, for example, you have to park your truck and leave it at a truck stop when you go to home time. Absolutely. Do you want to leave full saddlebags? Only if you have locking fuel caps, because it's getting pretty expensive out here. We did see fuel come down a little bit, and our fuel surcharge going into my 6th week, fuel surcharge is actually going to be down a penny, 86 cents instead of 87 cents. But we'll talk about that when we get there. Anyway, I got a lot of things to do and a lot of videos I want to do, and they're not all pay related. I'm going to get that bicycle down and ride it some because I got a different bicycle now. I got one that only costs $799, and it's a folding electric e-bike. And it'll do 40 miles on a charge, and I'm pretty impressed with it. Got that air conditioner that I've been using to try to cut down on the idle time when I'm parked. Because keep in mind, I do not have an APU on this truck. Now, the company did offer me a truck with an APU. I could have had a 2017 Freightliner with 561,000 miles on it, or 2022 Volvo VNL 760 with 77,000 miles on it. Tough choice here. Yes, there's no APU in the Volvo, but it's not always summer, people. It's not always summer. Summer will pass. And truthfully, I'm kind of getting used to it. All right, that's about enough for this video. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, make sure you're enjoying every day at work.